if you believe you deserve something, the universe will serve it. That has always worked for me. I can picture things and I work towards it.
I'm wondering how you were able to navigate some of the challenges that you faced, because you said you were just going, you were spontaneous.
Coconut head.
So how did you navigate the challenges?
That's not enough answer. Coconut head. If you want to be like me, you might lose your mind. I take a lot of risks. I cut my coats, bigger than my size. I bite more than I can chew. The richest people are the people that actually prioritize impact, because people who are going to build anything lasting are the people that are building for others. If you can reject money, you're going places. But for people who cannot say no to money, they will be stuck. It is good to make money, but let there be a foundational why, like an impact oriented motivation that drives you for the people.
Good day, everyone. You're welcome to LifeHub Podcast. My name is Adunfavour Adesoa, and as usual, I'm excited to have you join us here today. Our guest for today is an artist, a creative, and a designer. He's someone who is dedicated to his craft and committed to artistic exploration. He's the founder of Kokopelli Art Gallery and Coco Africa. The gallery focuses on storytelling, artistic identity, and the exploration of contemporary African art. He is an exceptional man who treats excellence as a premium in everything that he does. Please join me as I welcome Mr. Oludare Herald. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm excited to have you, as I said. So how has your journey been like generally, from creating art to building something like Kokopelli Art Gallery? How was it?
Okay. Yeah, it's been good. I mean, there are rough edges here and there for anyone in Nigeria building anything can relate to that. But mostly it's been good. It's been very good. Thank God.
So how did you start your creative
How did
journey?
I start?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I started off as an artist over 12, 13 years ago, professionally. But I've always had a knack for structure. I'm one of those creatives that really loves putting structure in place. And, I couldn't get myself to sit up, just sit still in a place, painting. And I felt like there can be more, and so the short story is I'd always wanted to have a hub, a space where creatives gather and do their thing and all of that. So I was staying in a space as a bachelor. I was staying in a duplex somewhere in Oniru that year, and I woke up one day, felt like it was too big for me at the time, because I was staying alone. I'll talk and it will echo back to me, or echo back at me and all of that. So one day I woke up, converted the place to a gallery, got another space, at least relatively smaller, moved there, started recruiting and creating structures around this whole thing. So it was quite spontaneous, but over the years, we're here where we are right now by God's grace. But that's the short story,
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you've always considered yourself as a founder, even while you were starting out? Or you were just going with the flow?
Well, I mean, I've never done, if I want to validate this last thing you said, like going with the flow, I've never done any 9 to 5. So whatever structure I put in place, I had to learn on the job. I had to consult, people to help put those things in place. And a lot of it was, should I say, visceral or cognitive. Like, I just knew that certain things should be done certain way, and it worked, sort of. Yeah.
That's amazing. I like
Thank
it when
you.
you talk about structure. And I'm kind of curious as to how your environment played a role in your creative process, your creative journey, and the idea of thinking in terms of structures. I'm not just going to be an artist. I want to create structure. So what role do your environment play in
Well,
building you?
um, I might have to throw a jab at Nigeria in that sense because I wouldn't say it's well, in one way or the other, seeing other people, other young people doing stuff, would encourage or motivate me. But aside that, looking at the environment, society itself, it does not reward, honest stuff like this. I wouldn't say that if I had started in a saner climb, I won't be, better than what I am today, or I wouldn't start on a better note, But I don't think Nigeria is there yet with preserving or appreciating our history, our story, the creative side of things. A lot of people who are in my space, they just started because of coconut head, like mine, because they just had to do it. They're not waiting for permission, and that's what works in Nigeria. That's the way you can get things started. And so I'll say that, yeah, that's also my own story. Not because the environment or the society spurred me to do it. I just felt it, like I said, visceral. It's something internal that I just felt like I can do this, I can make this work.
And I'm going to go
And one more thing is, I've always been big on nation building. So my career, there's a way I've structured it around nation building. If our leaders won't do certain things my own way, whatever small way I can start, gather people together, teach them on identity, bring that conversation forward. Yes, I'll do it. And that's what I'm doing with the gallery and the other expressions of the company, basically.
All right. So, yeah, I hear and understand you when you talk about Nigeria in terms of the environment. But I also want to get your thoughts as to environment in terms of possibly what you were seeing around you, the kind of company maybe that you kept, or people that were already in that space that kind of propelled you. Was there anything of such for you, or it was just a thing of, I'm just going on my own, I'm going at it?
Oh, well, I'll be lying if I, say that I wasn't motivated by anybody doing similar stuff in Nigeria. Yeah, quite a number of artists that I got to meet and, interact with their works, with or without them being there. And yes, there's a way those things, you will make a mental note and it begins to shape the way art itself is academic, right? If you engage with an art piece long enough and you enjoy it, you can not critique now, but have an immersive engagement with the piece. It will speak to you. And that happened to me over the years where I come across some contemporary pieces and I'm wowed, like, this is something else, there's more to this. So if I get the privilege to speak to the artist or not, I feel something shift in me. And also having conversations with art enthusiasts, collectors, curators, hearing their thought process, reading literature, getting exposed to all of those things. Yes, of course. And I believe that Nigerians, especially Nigerian writers, are one of the top, writers in the world. Because when you read a Nigerian or an African literature, there's something about it that opens your mind to, possibilities. So yes, I'll say that was part of my own journey, or that is part of my own journey, because it still continues.
So I get from what you have said that one of your inspirational factors was like art itself inspired you.
Yeah.
Art itself, just thinking of what it is you wanted to do, or whatever project it is that was in front of you, was just an inspiring force among other factors.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good. I want to ask, based on your experience, what do you think art should be for? Expression or communication? Or what is art to you? Should it be a form of expression, or should it have a form of communicative side to it? Especially when we talk about the fact of art for art sakeism, just art for art's sake. So what do you think about the idea?
Expression or communication?
Yes.
The question is a bit tricky, because I mean, when communicating, you can be expressive, So, but I think I get the angle you're coming with. If art is from a place of just idealism or ideologies,
Idealism.
or it's supposed to be a conversation starter, or it's passing a message, right? Or it's telling a story, right? Yes. My answer to that would be, you can't limit the function of an art. Yes, in Africa, it started with us as a functional thing. We weren't painters, our ancestors weren't painters. They were carvers, they were molders, and a lot of the artworks they did then had functions. It was just a day-to-day lifestyle.
Exactly.
They mold pots for water. Even the ones that created stuff for the palaces or the kings, a lot of them had ritual connotations and all of those things. Yes. But there are some that are actually the more ancient ones. There is a theory of them carving things from trees based on optical illusion. So they see things in trees or in woods and just feel like, let me carve this out and leave it there, and they go away. They are not thinking of the commercial side of things, because of course nobody in Africa, we're almost all artists, and thinking of those days where I don't think it was big deal to because anybody could do a lot of people could do a lot of things. But right now in the present world, yes, art can be a lot of things. Art can pass a message. There are people who protest with their art, send messages to the government. There are some who they use art for therapy, right? It has other functions. There are conversation starters. If you go for exhibitions or like artist talk, all those things, art should not be limited. That's what I'm trying to say. It can be for
expression.
even to pass to start an agenda, to tell a story. And that's where my gallery has camped our tents, so to speak, to tell stories, unpopular stories, to also inspire social changes and stuff like that. So yeah.
It's good. So how did you build Coco Africa into what it is today?
How did I build it?
I know you
I
told
don't
us
know.
about yours.
But yeah, I'm a very visual person. I'm very visual, and what I want to do in the next 5 years, I don't just know it, I can see it. So that's what I mean by I'm a very visual person. And there's a way the universe works, there's a way the universe works that I'm not trying to motivate. I run away from trying to motivate people, because if you follow my lifestyle, it might not work for you. Because I'm a very I take a lot of risks. I cut my coats bigger than my size. I bite more than I can chew, so I don't advise people most times. But back to what I was saying, there's something about the universe that I feel like, if you believe you deserve something, the universe will serve it, right? And that has always worked for me. I can picture things and I work towards it. So I've pictured it, then it's time for me to work towards it. And that's how I've built the company over the years. When it's time to do one part of the thing, I go for it. But I know where I'm going. I know what I'm trying to do. So yes, that's the only answer I have for that. If I say that, so my industry, it's one which, if you want to go into it, it's either someone as you have a large capital in somewhere, or you have the leverage to get all those things. I don't think I had any of those at the time I started, but you know, it's been an interesting journey. Everything boils down to my vision, my imagination, how I can picture it and go after it. So
Cool stuff. So what has building this cost you in terms of, let's say, relationships generally, and other sacrifices you had to make to build Kokopelli into what it is?
yeah. I've made a lot of sacrifices. Of course, I've made a lot of sacrifices. And yes, it has cost me a lot of things, right? It has cost me a lot of things, but mostly it has given me a lot of life. It has given me a lot of life to see that I can do this, and it has come to life. Running an art company or an art gallery, like I said, in Nigeria, if you don't have a capital, you don't have the leverage, and you're just trying to, go into the market to organically build something, you're going to struggle, because on this side of the world, we're just coming up, right? So a lot of bootstrapping has happened, where I take money from other businesses to fund this very one. So yes, those sacrifices over the years. Then for relationships, I'm not a man of big circles. I keep my circle small from onset, right? So I'll say that on that side of things, it hasn't been anything in particular. But yeah, I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, you have. I'm wondering how you were able to navigate some of the challenges that you faced, because you said you were just going, you were spontaneous.
Coconut head.
So how did you navigate the challenges?
That's not enough answer. Coconut head. So and what I mean by that is, yes, God, I am very big on my devotion, my religion, Christianity, right? The universe itself is not ordinary. I believe we live in a supernatural world, and you need to be conscious of the supreme being, which is God, and be able to communicate, right, and have conversations. So yes, I've been able to navigate a lot of things in the spiritual way, like praying, having my devotion. I believe that the spiritual, the unseen, controls the seen. And as a creative, as someone in my field who my primary work is to interpret nature, is to investigate nature, I see it in everything that God is very much in the affairs of man, and so many things, like I earlier said, is being controlled by the spiritual. Mental issues, physical issues, financial issues. I don't think there's anything you cannot pray about. So I think that I know that someone like me wouldn't be, might not be mentally or as mentally stable as I am currently if not for the spiritual side of things. Because yes, you do a lot of brain work, you do a lot of creative work comes with, you know, thinking, strategizing, and all of those things, and you can lose your mind. And you know, even now thinking about the economical factors in
Situation in
the
the
country where you stay, you have to balance everything, right? You have to balance everything, do the work, but also pray, you know. So yeah, that's, I would say, is what has helped me to navigate everything.
All right. So I'm happy you mentioned the God factor. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I think the environmental factors alone in this country is enough to just,
Run
like,
you mad.
as a founder, is enough to just discourage you and,
Yeah.
just make you just take a step back. Maybe I should go for a 9 to 5. Maybe I should look for something else to do with my life. So yes. So what does your creative work, your heart work, what does it say about you? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, says I'm very spontaneous. I'm very, to a fault, I think I'm a perfectionist. But my art will also tell you that I'm very, I take risks, right? I take risks. So yeah. If I'm going to say it in 3 words, yes, extemporaneous, which is, you know, my spontaneous approach. I take risks and I like things to, you know, I've been painting a piece for the past 4 years and I'm not done. Yes, I'm very busy with administrative work, but I'm also in a space where I see the piece almost every day for 4 years and I don't take my brush to touch one thing. You know, but yes, I've done pieces after that one. I'm just saying there's a particular piece that I've not finished in 2022, because I feel like there's something that I want from that piece that is not giving me yet, so I need it to speak to me before I continue. So yeah, I like to make my works perfect to a fault.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So, what would you say to someone who is trying to build something like what you've already built over the past years? What advice?
If someone wants to build what I've built, or if someone wants to build anything in Nigeria, which one?
If someone wants to build what you have
What
built,
I've built.
yes.
Someone wants to build what I've built. Right now, what I would tell them, he should stop. Because just play it safe. Like, just stop whatever you. I'm not, but I don't have anything to. If you want to be like me, you might lose your mind, right? So go and do something better. Go and, you know, just play it safe, right? But on a serious note now, if you want to do it the way I've done it, I'll say that be very, learn when to retreat, like when to douse the noise, because what I've done or what I'm doing requires a lot of alone time, because you can easily be distracted, and that will not help you. So learn to detach when necessary. Learn to have a mechanism of dousing the noise, so that you can refill yourself and reiterate to yourself the reason why you're doing this, right? Like I said, I'm very visual and it has helped me. Even when everything is not looking like it, I go back to my drawing board and think of my why, right? Nation building. I'm very big on the African identity And that's what pushes me. So if you want to do what I've done, you have to know your why. You have to know why you're doing this. And you have to be able to always, anytime you retreat, always get that, refilled into you.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing. And in regards to the other side of things, you have to know how to get resources together, because if I'd put all my eggs in one basket and I want to build this, I don't think I would have lasted, this long. But because I also learned the other side of things, pulling resources together, it has helped me to bootstrap, like I said. Sometimes it feels like in this side of my career, I'm running an NGO, but I don't mind because, like I said, it's nation building. So if you want to do what I've done, or you want to do what I'm doing, you have to have that mindset about life. Like, it's not everything you put money that throws money back at you immediately, but you have to have that doggedness to keep going at it. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, so I think you were trying to make a distinction between building what you have built and building something in Nigeria, like building anything at all in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So like, I want you to speak to that. Building in Nigeria.
So I'm a bit of a critic in that line, because I feel like a lot of Nigerian builders are hustlers. I feel like they are just doing it to put food on their table, which is fine. But I think that there is much more to life than being selfish. It's very good to think of yourself. But I think a lot of people, they've lost the plot in the process. They just want to, and this is why, like I say, this is why we have the Yahoo guys, the hookup culture, and all of that. If you want to build anything at all, retain your identity. It is very important to make money, but I feel like you should also consider the side of impact, because how do I frame this? I feel like the richest people are the people that actually prioritize impact. But people who are hustlers, they don't know that. They think it is anything that is paying, as long as I'm going to get something out of this, I have to do it. So they have become cynical. Everything is for their own advantage. They don't know when to do things for doing sake, like you mentioned earlier. So I think that if you want to build anything in Nigeria, think of your identity first, who you are, what you're trying to give back to the society, or why are you doing this? Is it just for the money? Because people who are going to build anything lasting are the people that are building for others, right? They are building for impact. And those are the people that, the best way to know those kind of people, if you can reject money, you're going places. But for people who cannot say no to money, they will be stuck. Something is going to catch up with them. And that's all I'd like to tell Nigerian entrepreneurs, that it is good to make money, but let there be a foundational why, like an impact oriented, motivation that drives you for the people, and I think that's the best advice I can give anybody trying to build anything
in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So how do you balance it with the economic situation? You find us.
I don't know. I did it for myself. I did it. So if I can do it, I feel like you go and figure it out. I don't have to tell you how to balance it. I see. It's a long story. This thing, I don't want to go into it because I think about it every day, and I see people who they say because of the economy, that's why I have to do anything that comes. And I think it will just run you into the rabbit hole. And there's something they call the rat race. And that is what that will lead you to, the rat race. You won't know. You might not live a purposeful life once you are caught up in that, where the economy is bad. Yes, I just need to survive. I just need to do this. I don't need to do that. By the time you start surviving, you might not know. So you might still be in that race because you've made money for yourself, but nothing has changed about your approach to things. You want more. But if your foundation is solid enough to know that, yes, I want to do this business because I need the money to fund my career, to fund my dream, to fund my purpose, then you can create a balance, right? You see a market that is easy for you to come in. Yes, do it by all means, but make sure that you don't lose yourself, you don't lose your identity, you don't lose the purposeful side of life in doing that. So yeah, that's all.
Yeah, so I like the fact that you said you can identify a lucrative market and see how you channel your energy into that, or pulling back into whatsoever impact it is that you want to make.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I think we've learned a lot from your process, your spontaneity, the fact that you were resilient and you kept at it. It's quite a lot, and we just want to say thank you for what you are doing for Africa, because what you are doing is something that it transcends. Especially I see the passion when you talk about it in terms of impact. So it's been a lot of sacrifice from all that I've deduced from what you have said. Thank you so much for coming once again.
Thank you.
And thank you to our viewers for staying through to the end. We hope to see you in the next one. Do well to like, share, subscribe, comment. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.